Hi. Today I'm going to give you your English lesson over the internet. This is something I do with my level 100s often, so have fun. I will try not to make it too boring and painful for you. Some of you may not need to review this, but in fact I do think everybody should because it's a typical error that Anglophones make. So today we're going to work on how to use conditionals properly. So bear with me. So we have what we call four different forms of the conditional. These are the first three. One is a real situation. If I work, I make money. So I use both verbs in the present. If she works, she'll make money. I think that's fairly obvious. And if I worked, I made money, meaning every time I worked, I made money. So my verbs can be in the past. I also have a form for the unreal or improbable conditional, meaning things that we don't really expect to happen. Most of you have absolutely no problems using this structure. If I had a job, so my verb's in the past, I would buy a car, or I could buy a car, or I might buy a car, depending on what I'm trying to express with my modal verb here. Or if I were living in Mexico, I could practice my Spanish, so I can use my verb here in the past progressive, and then again would, could, or might, and the base verb that follows. Again, I don't think that people struggle with this one. This is where Anglophones make a lot of errors, and Francophones too when they're speaking French, and so they often translate it incorrectly into English as well. It's when we talk about the past unreal, which is something that it's already happened and you can't change the circumstance. If I had seen you earlier, I would have given you the car. So past perfect is if I had seen, then would have, could have, might have, plus the past participle. I would have given you the car. It is wrong, 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 and it drives me nuts when people say, if I would have seen you, or if I would have seen you, I would have or would have given you the car. So you cannot use the if and the would together. So the correct structure, if Clark had phoned Kathy on time, she might not have broken up with him. We see there how to make the negative. The exception, of course, to everything, as it is always in English, is the verb to be. When we talk about unreal conditions, meaning the second conditional form with the verb to be, we use the verb were with all subjects. If I were the president of a company, I would let everyone have Friday off, instead of saying if I was the president of a company. Informally, you can say it, but if you want to be grammatically correct, which of course we do in English class, we've had this discussion, then it's correct to say if I were. Or we could leave early if our regular teacher were here. Well, since you're getting this course by internet, I guess you're maybe somewhere else. Never, ever, ever, please never use would in the if clause. So if I would have more money, I hear that often, I would take a trip. It's wrong. You need to say if I had more money, I would take a trip. Or if I would have seen him, I would have given him the keys. I hear that all the time. It's wrong. If I had seen him, I would have given him the keys. And this is an example where I really don't think that it's right to ever make that mistake. Even if you're with people who think it's right, you can lead by example. Alternative phrasing, I could say he will lend me money if I pay him back with interest. So you see my if is in the middle of my sentence. And it's important to remember that when the if is in the middle of your sentence, there is no comma. I think you probably know that already. More alternatives, she could take a trip if she managed to save some money. Just remember to conjugate your verbs correctly. And even more, had I known you were coming to visit, I would have baked a cake. Of course, if you grew up watching Sesame Street, as I did many, many years ago, you would recognize this popular song. Although I think Ernie and Bert sing it differently. I might have offered to help her move if she had not been so rude to me the last time I saw her. I just wanted to give you some extra examples of how this works. So some things to remember. One is do not make the typical English error. Do not make this error when you are writing. Do not make it when you are speaking. Just banish it from your vocabulary and your syntax right now. So people say, if I would have met him sooner, I might have dated him. It's wrong. If I had met him sooner, I might have dated him. Also, if I had met him sooner, I might have dated him. I understand why people make that error, because when we speak quickly, that's what it sounds like. I might have, but it's wrong. It's I might have dated. So that's it for conditionals. Next, I want to move on to making a wish. Again, probably most of you know how to do this, but there are a lot of errors that typical or native English speakers make, so I want to look at those. So when we make a wish about the present, and we do this in English all the time because we're always complaining about something. So to make a wish about the present, we use the past. I know it's not very logical. I wish I were somewhere else right now. I'm in my office. I'm supposed to be at a meeting, but yeah, I wish I didn't have to go to the meeting, but I do have to go. I didn't go because I'm doing this instead. So we also make wish to change a habit for something. I wish you would stop clawing my furniture, Joy says to her beloved cat. There he is. So that means he does claw my furniture and I don't like it. So I wish he would stop. And I wish he would listen to me from time to time. He doesn't listen to me. Even as I was leaving the house this morning, he was clawing the furniture. Maybe I should get him declawed, but that's cruel. We also use wish to make, when we wish about the future, we use the past tense. So you might say, oh, you're not coming to my party? I wish you were going to be there, or I wish you were coming. So in that case, I need to use a past tense. In this one, I'm using the present progressive. You aren't coming. So my equivalent verb is going to be the past progressive. Or Mark wishes he could leave earlier. The real situation is that he can't. This is where the typical error comes in, that Anglophones make. When we wish about the past and things that we cannot change, it's very similar to the conditional. I wish we had arrived earlier because we could have gotten a seat in the front. What I often hear people say is, I wish we would have arrived earlier. Or I wish we would arrived earlier. Wrong! I wish we had arrived earlier. He wishes he had told her about the truth. Or he wishes he had told her the truth about why he missed the exam. Indeed. So Francophones often have a hard time using wish properly, but as I said, in English we use it all the time because we're never satisfied. So if you're struggling, then you could use the alternative, which is hope, and it's almost easier because then you just conjugate your verb regularly. But we use wish for something that likely won't happen. I wish I had a better paying job. What I think is I probably won't get one. And we use hope for something that you want to happen, but you're not sure if it'll happen, but it might. So, I mean, there's hope, I suppose. I hope I get the job I applied for. So if you need some extra practice, well, I'm giving you homework, but you can go to EnglishPage.com. It's an excellent website. Or you can go to CCC conditional for conditional, or just go onto Google and type practice wish in English. So I think that's it. Stay tuned. There will be another one soon. Ciao.